Getting to the Big Ten tournament, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, the top 3 seeds in the Big Ten tournament all finished 13-5, followed by Wisconsin at the 4 seed, my alma mater, Indiana University at the 5 seed. Let's start with Michigan State. It seems like the only possible number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament could be Michigan State. Must they win the entire thing to have that number 1 seed?
Yeah, I think so, and I'm afraid that even if they do, I'm not sure they're going to be a number 1 seed. I really think for 2 reasons. The first one is the losing streak to end the regular season, falling to Indiana and Ohio State in their last 2 games. I think before that they were in really good shape to be a 1. And then I think you add in the injury to Brandon Dawson, and the committee's going to look at them and say, well, maybe this isn't quite as strong a team now. Now, of course, you can erase some of those doubts by winning the Big Ten tourney. So, I suppose if they do win it, then maybe they've said that they've shown that the loss of Brandon Dawson isn't going to be as huge a deal as you might think. But I still think it's an uphill battle for any Big Ten team to get a 1. I think probably we're looking at a couple of 2 seeds with Ohio State and Michigan State.
I wanted to touch on Brandon Dawson. He shot 57% for the season. He's the 2nd leading scorer, 3rd leading rebounder. He tore his ACL. How big of a loss is this for Michigan State?
Well, I don't think he's that high up on their scoring. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way or forgetting something, but I don't think he's their 2nd leading scorer. But he's a really good rebounder, really good offensive rebounder. I think that's probably his greatest strength. I'm looking at him now. Yeah, he's their 3rd leading scorer.
3rd leading, yeah. 2nd leading rebounder, 3rd leading scorer.
What he really is a good rebounder. I mean, a very good offensive rebounder. He's a physical presence. He's a tough guy to guard because he is so athletic for his size. So it's a significant loss. I mean, I spoke with Tom Izzo yesterday, and he was bummed, to say the least. This is the 2nd time in the last 3 years they've lost a key piece heading into the NCAA tournament. They lost Kalen Lucas, if you'll recall, a few years ago, and they still managed to make it to the Final Four. So, again, not out of the question that Michigan State could make a run here, but I do think it makes it a little bit tougher for them. They really had finally gotten to this point where you felt like their chemistry was right. They had kind of figured out where everyone fit in, and then this throws a bit of a curveball at them.
Let me ask you about Northwestern, because according to ESPN's Joe Lunardi, a.k.a. Joey Brackets, he has Northwestern as the first 4 in. Do they have number 10 Minnesota in the 1st round? If they lose that game, they're certainly out, it appears to be. So if they win that game, are they in your opinion?
I think it's really going to depend, Ricky, on what happens in some of these other kind of mid-major tournaments, whether the teams that are expected to get through do, because otherwise these bids go away. I mean, there's been some good developments for them, obviously. The fact that St. Mary's and Gonzaga played in the final of the West Coast Conference with St. Mary's winning, both of those teams were going to be in anyway. Had, let's say, San Francisco come through and won that thing, that would have been a real issue for Northwestern because it would have stolen a bid. Same with Creighton beating Illinois State. So far, there really haven't been any stolen bids. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Colonial, whether Drexel still gets in. I don't think that they should based on their resume, but you kind of never know. Northwestern's playing with fire right now. I mean, I think if they beat Minnesota, they're in, decent shape. I think they're in the conversation, and, maybe they have a chance to get into, like, let's say those first, the first 4 in Dayton or something like that. I think to really feel good about where they are, they probably need to win that game and beat Michigan as well in the 2nd game. And, Michigan's a team that's taken to overtime twice, including, in Ann Arbor, obviously, but, haven't been able to pull it out. And that's kind of been the story of their season. I mean, you kind of look at the games against elite teams. We saw Ohio State last week. They lost by 2. They've lost twice in overtime to Michigan. They lost by 5 at Indiana in a game that was tied in the final 4 minutes. Purdue beat him on a buzzer beater in Evanston. Illinois blocked a shot at the very end to beat him in Evanston. So, it's kind of been the story of their year. And at a certain point, when you only have 1 top 50 win, it's tough to make an argument saying, well, we absolutely deserve to be in. You're kind of it's up to the committee, you're at their mercy.
Yeah, that has to be painful. But I really hope they get in, not only being an Illinois native, but also for Bill Carmody and that program. I really do hope they get in. Let me touch back on Michigan State very quickly. The game that I saw them most recently was against Indiana. It seemed like they did not shoot the ball well. Draymond Green at one point scored 20 of their 22 points. I mean, if he gets in foul trouble, can you just say that they do not have a chance to, let's say, make a big run in this tournament, but also make a big run in March Madness?
Well, you know, this tournament is never something they've done all that well in. They won, you know, a couple of them very early on back in the early 2000s, and then since then they've never really been all that much of a factor. So, you know, whether or not Michigan State does well in the Big Ten tournament, you know, the NCAA tournament's their thing, obviously 6 of the last 13 Final Fours. You know, I think that they've come along nicely. They did not play well in that game against Indiana. I mean, if they play like that, they're obviously not going to a Final Four. You know, Brandon Wood didn't shoot the ball well in that game. He's given them some big moments this year. Appling really struggled offensively, couldn't get much of anything going. Had a bunch of turnovers, if I recall, as well.
Yep.
So, you know, if it's just Draymond Green, yeah, then they're in big trouble. I think this team is more than just Draymond Green. You know, I think that's kind of been the genius of what Tom Izzo's done, of taking a team that was unranked at the beginning of the year, that had very low expectations, that only had 3 guys back who had played, you know, average 10 minutes per game last year, and he has molded them into a team that shared the Big Ten championship and that'll be the #1 seed in the tournament. So, you know, that tells you that they're more than Draymond Green, but, you know, they have to show that in each game. They can't have games where everyone doesn't show up, because, you know, the result is like what you saw against IU, where, you know, truth be told, they were out of the game, I thought, at halftime.
Let me ask you about Wisconsin very quickly. They are in the top 2 in most defensive statistical categories. What makes them so good on the defensive end?
That's just Bo Ryan. I mean, you're just not going to play for him if you can't be a solid man-to-man defender. It's what they work on. You know, I've been to practices of theirs where I was at an early season practice about 3 years ago, and no one shot a ball other than scout team guys for the first hour of the practice. I mean, it's all defense. It's about, you know, positioning your shoulders and, you know, what to do with your feet. And, I mean, he's a defensive master, and he's an offensive master, too. I mean, you know, they're very efficient offensively. They just play a very deliberate game. Now, that being said, this is not a great Bo Ryan team. I think this is a good team, not a great team. You know, they have underperformed a little bit in the NCAA tournament. Maybe that would be overstating it. They certainly haven't overperformed in the NCAA tournament. They basically beat the teams they're supposed to, you know, under Ryan. And then when they get up against teams with higher seeds, they lose. They're 1-7 under Bo Ryan against higher seeded teams in the NCAA tournament. So, you know, that's the challenge for him, is to kind of take that next step. It's an incredible program that's about to make its 14th straight NCAA tourney appearance. You know, only Kansas, Duke, and Michigan State have longer streaks. You know, the issue now is, can you get to that next step? Can you put together a team that makes a Final Four run like they did under Dick Bennett?
Right. Who has the deepest bench in the tournament?
In the Big Ten tournament? That's a good question. I'm not sure it's not Indiana. You know, I like Indiana an awful lot. In fact, if I had to pick a team to win this tournament, I'm not so sure I wouldn't pick them. You know, Minnesota plays a lot of players. Tubby Smith likes to kind of substitute en masse. But whether or not that's, you know, I guess it depends how you define the deepest bench. I mean, I think Indiana has guys coming off the bench that can be real difference makers in games, and there aren't quite as many of those at Minnesota.
Let me ask you very quickly, who do you think on Indiana could be that difference maker? Because in my eyes, I mean, I've watched this team since I went to their great university in Bloomington, Indiana. Derek Elston could hit some 16-foot jumpers, but he gets in foul trouble. Same with Tom Pritchard. He gets in foul trouble very quickly. So who do you think off the bench could be that difference maker?
I think Matt Roth is a guy who, you know, when he gets it going, can be a difference maker. You know, Sheehy, who kind of at times has been in and out of the starting lineup, but, you know, Sheehy is a guy who I think can give them good contributions off the bench. You know, the 2 guys that you mentioned, I understand your concerns about them, particularly Pritchard. Pritchard's not a great really a great contributor. Hasn't been this year. It was obviously a key player for them early on in Tom Crean's time, where they didn't have a lot of players. But I certainly think Elston at times can be a good, solid contributor for them. The truth of the matter is there just aren't that many teams with really deep benches in this league. Michigan State brings some quality off of its bench. Obviously, that bench gets shortened now with the loss of Brandon Dawson. Ohio State is not really much of a bench team. Wisconsin has a few guys. Ben Bruss they bring in, and early in the year he was a good offensive player for them. He's fallen off a little bit. Purdue brings DJ Bird in, who's kind of an instant offense guy, and obviously plays. He's a tough kind of blue collar kind of guy. But this is not a league that has great bench players. And
of course, DJ Bird won the Sixth Man of the Year award in the Big Ten.
Right.
Let's talk about Michigan. Is rebounding their Achilles heel?
I would say so. They have had games this year where they've just gotten hammered on the boards. When they are just average on the boards, they're really good. I do think they've gotten better rebounding than they were, let's say, a year or two ago. They can rebound from more positions than they could a year ago. Some of their guards are better. Obviously, Novak has always been a tough rebounder. Smotrich has kind of fallen off a little bit, but early in the year he was doing a great job for them rebounding the ball. I just think he lost such confidence in his offensive game that it kind of affected him all around. But he had a really nice game there last time out against Penn State, so maybe he helps them a little bit. But yeah, to kind of answer your question, yes. If you were to kind of take all of the areas, offense, defense, rebounding, depth, all of those kinds of things, and rank where Michigan stands, I think that their worst area would be rebounding.
Staying with Michigan, Trey Burke was obviously a huge impact on their program this year under John Beilein, as was Cody Zeller and Tom Crean's system. So who do you think, we know who won, but who do you think was the more impactful freshman this year?
Well, they both won, right? I think the coaches went with Zeller and the media went with Trey Burke. I probably would have gone with Zeller. I just think when you look at Indiana, here's a team that was the 11th seed in the Big Ten tournament last year. That's crazy. There weren't 12 last year, remember. There were only 11, so they were last. And, now you're talking about a team that's the 5th seed that I think has a legitimate chance to win the whole thing, to make a deep NCAA tournament run, a team that, beat the number 1 and number 2 teams in the nation this year, that's won some great games. And, what's the difference? If you go down that roster, not a whole lot changed other than Cody Zeller. So, here's a kid who came in with a ton of pressure on him, at a school that loves its basketball, as you know, that's passionate about this team, a fan base that was just starved to get back to that point where they were a winner. And Zeller, I thought, came through. So in my mind, again, Burke had a lot of pressure on him, too. You're replacing Darius Morris, who went to the NBA somewhat unexpectedly. But I just feel like Zeller was the guy who really improved his team the most.
Let me ask you this, and I've had this conversation with a few other people. Cody Zeller has great footwork. He's a smart player. He's a good passer, and he's a solid rebounder. I really hope he's not watching this right now, but if he were to, let me ask you this. Would it be beneficial for him to jump to the NBA this year and possibly be a top 10, top 15 pick?
I don't follow that stuff as much as I should, Ricky, as to where people would project him. But in my mind, I think that would be a tragic mistake. He needs to put on more weight. He needs to get physically stronger, at least a year, maybe 2 more years in college, in my mind. So I don't think that he's ready. I think he has a skill set, as you talked about. There are a lot of things that he does very well, and those things will still be there. But I don't get the sense, given knowing the family background and, looking at Tyler Zeller and, the fact that obviously he has stayed in school, I'd be really surprised if he made a move like that. It just wouldn't make any sense for him.
I really hope he doesn't, but hey, you never know. Illinois, were they the most disappointing team this year in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think it would be hard to go for anyone else. I think Minnesota is in that conversation, but Minnesota, understand, you lose a player like Trevor Mbakwe. This guy was a preseason first-team All-Big Ten pick. He, is a big-time player, a rebounder, just a force down low. That's tough to overcome. Whereas Illinois, it wasn't really injuries. It was just a function of for whatever reason, they just didn't gel. They didn't play defense like Illinois usually plays defense. They couldn't figure out consistently how to get Myers Leonard involved in the offense. And, yeah, as a result, here's a team that started the season like gangbusters and, now is going to be the 9 seed in the Big Ten tournament and needs to win the whole thing just to get into the NCAAs.
Dave, I really appreciate the time that you have given us this morning. Just a few back and forth Q&As here. Very quickly, is Bruce Weber done after this year?
Well, I sure hope not. I really like Bruce a lot personally. He's been great to deal with. He's a really, really good guy. They're going to need to have some sort of a miraculous run, though, here for him, I'm afraid.
Do you have a sleeper in the tournament?
Does Indiana count?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Playing on the first day. Indiana, absolutely, I think. And I think Purdue has a chance to make a run, too. So if I were to go beyond the top 4, I mean, again, you're picking 5 and 6 there, but, those are the teams that I think have a chance that are playing on the first day to really make some noise.
One name people will remember after watching this tournament.
Well, I don't know whether they already know it, but if they don't know it, I would say Trey Burke is a name that they certainly would remember. I think he's destined to have a really good tournament. Yeah, beyond that, guys like Jordy Holes, Victor Oladipo, I think IU's going to make a deep run, so I think those will be some names people are talking about.
And in the end, Big Ten Network's Dave Revsine, who do you predict as the winner?
I don't make predictions, Ricky. I just make fun of the people who make predictions. So
that's probably the best answer I've ever heard. Glenbrook North alumni like myself, Dave Revsine of the Big Ten Network, thank you so much for the time as always. Promise me that you will come back once again to preview these teams.
Absolutely, my pleasure.